another split show with me in Morgantown, West Virginia, with no voice. Chris Vasquez back at our studios. Well, I'm actually feeling better, Chris. Slightly
Good.
better.
That's good.
But you can see me.
Yeah. Looking
I
beautiful
look
as
good,
ever.
don't I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful as ever.
Yeah, we're up on the stream, which you can watch. You can listen to the show, 96.9 FM, 740 AM, the iHeart app, and on the YouTube link. Go to the 96.9 The Game page, click on the live button. You can watch us there. You can also access us on Twitter, which is easy to do. Click 96.9 Game on, and you can watch the video stream, and you can see Chris and Orlando and me in the broadcast booth here at Kendrick Family Ballpark in Morgantown, where earlier you heard the birds chirping in the background, right?
They're still chirping. I love it. Do like a serious story, and then there's a brief pause.
Right.
And you hear the birds chirping.
Right, or it's Thursday morning at Augusta at the Masters. But telling Kelly, I didn't sneak in, but I kind of snuck in. The media relations guy for West Virginia said, "Hey, yeah, you can access. Just go here. It opens up 8:00 and everything." So I got here like 7:50, and there's a door open. Who doesn't walk through the door?
It's like the red button. You got to push it.
And as long as you know, like, if you look like you know what you're doing, then you're fine, right?
Always.
So you walk in, head down, locked in. I think there may have been somebody doing laundry, and I just kept on walking. Okay, getting in was one thing. Then to access the press box was something else, because last night with the team practice here, you needed like someone had to like send a code to unlock the door.
Okay.
And the guy's like, "Hey, I don't think it's going to be unlocked, so you have to text me, and then I'll send you a code."
Oh God.
All right, no big deal. But it's 7:45, whatever. And I come up here, and Chris, the green light showed the door is open. Door opened up, and I'm in.
Nice. All right.
So there you go. So even though I got no voice, it's been off to a good start this morning. I'm not complaining. It's a beautiful morning, 63, 64 degrees. The mountains
beautiful.
Beyond center field, the birds chirping.
Can we see the mountains like we did at Penn State?
Yeah,
the mountains?
you can. Hold on. Here you go. Let's see if I turn this thing around.
Hop on the stream if you want to see some mountains in West Virginia. Beautiful. Beautiful. I can never be a play-by-play guy. I get distracted.
You see the guy in the cart down there that's raking the turf?
I do.
Killing some time on the phone right there, huh? But there's the mountains, and here's the whole view all the way across.
Someone at West Virginia is going to watch the stream. He's going to get fired for being on his
phone. Nah. It's all good. So there you go. And now we're back in studio, which is where I'll be the next 3 days, calling baseball up here, and the voice is the voice, whatever it is. So how's everything back in Orlando? How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm heading to Indian Rocks Beach this weekend.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just spending
a little getaway.
Yeah, we are visiting some friends over in the St. Pete area.
Yeah.
So we're gonna spend Saturday night at an Airbnb, link up with them. We're gonna spend a little bit of Easter with them before coming back to Orlando. But nice little
all right
day night getaway.
All right, that's good. Yeah. I wish like 80% of college baseball this weekend is Thursday, Friday, Saturday, but the Big 12 left it up to teams to decide what they wanted to do, and West Virginia wanted to play Sunday, so we'll be here on Easter Sunday, and just the way it is. So it's all right. It's all good. I think I told you I left Easter eggs inside my house for my wife to find them. There are 21 Easter eggs that have chocolate inside, and I think she's found 15 already.
Nice.
So
you remember
it's like the Santas, chocolate Santas that I hide, except I used good chocolate here. What now?
You remember where you hid all the Easter eggs, right?
No, in fact, as I wrote a note to her from the quote Easter Bunny, I said, and if you come across any chocolate Santas, there's still probably 3 or 4 missing chocolate Santas that are out there. But
why don't you get the chocolate bunnies? Why Santa?
Well, in the little egg, I like see the chocolate Santa. I just hide that, but to put it inside the plastic egg, I had to put she's got the little Reese's cups, man. Come on, who doesn't like that?
You can't go wrong with Reese's.
Yeah. So anyway, all right, I want to tell you about a couple of things we're going to get to on the program today. I spoke to Mike O'Donnell yesterday. He's going to join us. He's in Indianapolis where the Final Four is, and I could be more happy for Mike. Chris, on Sunday, he's calling the Division II National Championship on main CBS, which he did last year. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, good for him.
So he'll be on main CBS on Sunday, but Mike's going to join us from Indianapolis side of the Final Four. He was on the way to the airport yesterday, and we spoke, and so we'll talk with him a little bit later today. Full disclosure, the sports law segment today, actually, Chris taped with Richard L. yesterday because of Richard's schedule, my schedule. So I thank Chris for doing that. But some really good stuff that we got to with Richard about Tiger Woods and his legal case and some other stuff. So that'll be coming up in the sports law segment just after 10:15.
That's right.
So we'll get to that. And then I teased this at the end of the bridge, and I want to explain what I worked yesterday in the sense of, Chris, I texted a few people, was on the phone with a few people, and I'm going to kind of do a little bit of a deeper dive coming up in the next segment. So what was the big news in Orlando about football this past week?
That would be the Jacksonville Jaguars coming to Orlando.
What year?
2027. 2026.
Right, so that's,
yeah,
right. No, 27.
Yeah.
So that's cool to have an NFL team in town for a year, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it may not be the only year.
I know. I saw that.
And a little bit of research yesterday, a little bit of details and some numbers and all sorts of stuff. And we'll get into that coming up in just a little bit. Plus, if you missed it, the clip that we played on the bridge of Atlanta Hawks announcer Steve Holman, who hates you, hates your city, hates the Magic, believes Gogo Batazzi should be shipped somewhere else.
All Magic players are dirty.
We'll play that clip, a little bit on the Magic, and the football story that is only going to get bigger involving Orlando and another city in the coming months and year, and a calculated move. I mean, a really calculated move by an ownership group who did it on purpose. I'll get all that more, but first, everybody's favorite segment.
It's almost like an unwritten rule that when you become a father, you become king of the bad dad jokes.
What is Forrest Gump's password? 1Forrest1.
Are you ready to laugh? We know at least one person is. Here's CB's dad joke of the day.
Oh, that's so great. So I told Tuck yesterday that I wasn't confident in my joke. And sure enough, he ended up liking my joke yesterday.
Oh, really? Okay.
He did. So now I got to follow it up and end the week strong.
Okay.
What is the Easter Bunny's favorite dance move?
I don't know, Chris. What is the Easter Bunny's favorite dance move?
The bunny hop. The bunny hop.
The best part about this is if you're watching on the video stream, Chris puts his hands up to like be a little bunny and goes, the bunny hop.
The bunny hop.
He just did it again. Unbelievable.
Hey, what's up? This is Pat Lynch.
And I'm Taco Bob, and you're not rocking out with WJRR.
Lock it in here with Marc Daniels and the beat of sports.
Friday edition of our program. Again, I'm in Morgantown, West Virginia. UCF's up here playing baseball this weekend. Top 25 matchup. Magic tonight on this station as they take on Dallas. Radio for UCF is on 810. You can also access that in the iHeart app. And then Sunday's game here on 96.9 and AM 740. 10 o'clock hour coming up, WIJM Orlando, WJR, HD2 Cocoa Beach. I want to do this first, then we'll play the Steve Holman Hawks clip after. But, Chris, I want to take you back several months here for a second. And I want to go back to the fall of 2025. Okay? So let's do this together. In the fall of 2025, what we know is Jacksonville is deciding on a place to play their 27 season. And the options are Gainesville and Orlando.
Right.
There were a bunch of other ideas that were out there, including playing more games in Europe and even Atlanta. But in the end, it came down to Gainesville and Orlando. And Orlando felt they were really good about the package they put forth with the stadium renovations. They convinced the NFL people they'd be able to get it done in time. And the financial package was going to work. And as we talked about this a couple of days ago, the Jaguars and the NFL had quietly told Orlando, look, it's going to happen. Let's get moving on this. But remember, it's got to be the formal NFL vote and by the owners. And we don't know exactly which meeting they're going to do that. Okay, that's what's happening in Orlando. In the fall of 2025, and actually going back to the summer of 2025, the Tampa Bay Lightning have been talking to Hillsborough County because they want upgrades to the arena. The Lightning, who have been a model franchise, who's going through an ownership change, even though you've got an owner widely respected who's going to stick around for a period of time, they're going through ownership change. But they want upgrades because of two things. One, where they say are now necessities that other NHL teams have, and they want to get a facelift to that arena where the Lightning play. And they are beginning to tell Hillsborough County, we've got an idea about what we want, and we're going to come to the table with something. We're going to be part of it to not ask you to pay for all of it. We're going to give you a heads up on it. It got a little bit of attention in Tampa, but it wasn't a big deal because the Lightning had a lease that went through 2037, not up in the next 2-3 years, in 2037. So that's happening in the summer and fall of 25.
Okay.
Meanwhile, the Rays are trying to figure out what's going to happen with the sale of that franchise. Remember that whole thing about Stu Sternberg? Okay.
Yep.
And how many times he struck out in trying to find a stadium site and back and forth with Pinellas and Hillsborough and St. Pete and Tampa and all the different renderings and all sorts of stuff. Then there's the group that says, hey, or a group is emerging to buy the Rays. Everybody knows you got to resolve the stadium situation because you had the hurricane with the damage. St. Pete, Pinellas put in money to open the stadium for the Rays right now. But that lease is up, and it looks as if this new ownership group says, hey, we're done. We're not, never say never, but we're open to getting back across the bay to Hillsborough County. So that is known. And then what's been known for the last, not one, not two, but several years is the Glazers have been sitting there going, hey, we are going to need a facelift here at least. That Raymond James has remained, has remained in the Super Bowl rotation, but that now is in trouble because of all these new stadiums being built. And at some point, we're going to ask, what do we want to do? So all that's happening in Tampa with the three franchises that all want something. So what happens? In January of this year, January 21st, the Lightning and Hillsborough County reached an agreement on a $250 million renovation plan for the arena that the Lightning play in. The Lightning are going to pay $75 million of that, and Hillsborough County is going to use tourist tax money towards the rest of it. Now, remember, that's a lot of money in Hillsborough County. They do not make anywhere near what Orange County makes in the tourist tax for obvious reasons, okay? So that's a big commitment. And even though the vote was unanimous at 7-0, there was blowback of several commissioners that didn't like the idea of taking tax dollars to do this. But the Lightning have done what, Chris, over the last decade? They've been one of the dominant franchises in all of pro sports, okay? Yeah. winning multiple Stanley Cups, putting out a great product, selling out night after night after night. So that is not that big of a deal, although it's a lot of money, so they get that deal done. Meanwhile, the Rays are going through the whole thing about what's going to happen with their stadium. Okay, now let's fast forward. So from January, when the Lightning get their deal done, to what we've now watched in the last couple of weeks. The Rays, all those nice renderings, all the ideas, the Hillsborough Community College land, and then everybody, and then Chris, the funny thing is all the teams put out their support. Yes, even the Yankees put out, we support the Rays stadium deal. The Bucks put it out. The Lightning put it out. Nobody believes for a second that either one of those Tampa Bay teams want the Rays to get their deal done. They could care less. Why? Because they want to take care of themselves first. Now, the Lightning got their deal done, so maybe they're just a little bit more genuine. But the Bucks could care less. You would think, no, why wouldn't the Bucks want the Rays to build that district? It would only help. The Bucks want what's best for the Bucks first and foremost. They don't care about what the Rays get done right now. So the Bucks have put together their plan, but that didn't go public until recently. But everybody knew that the Glazers were going to ask for something. So what happens? The Rays ownership begins to throw out the ideas. They throw out proposals. They throw out renderings to get this whole vision of this multi-billion-dollar project. The state and Governor DeSantis gets behind it. They donate the land. It's going to happen at Hillsborough Community College. They got this vision, this beautiful entertainment district, renderings, and everybody looks smiling and happy. And then you got to figure out how to pay for this thing. And then you get a little bit of creative. You hear, well, we can do it this way. The Rays will put up this much, and the county could do this. And where's the money come from? And as we learned in Orlando many times, you can't just take certain dollars and apply it towards things like building a stadium. And the Rays thing is complicated because, again, you're talking about raising a significant amount of money. And where's that money come from? Well, the Bucks knew they can't sit quietly. And the narrative, I've always believed this, if you're first, you get to spin the narrative. Well, the Bucks weren't first. The Lightning got the deal done in January. The Rays had the ownership change, and that was exciting news for Ray fans because Stu Sternberg was a Wicked Witch of the West. And new ownership comes in. They bring out these beautiful renderings. Everybody jumps on board, and the Bucks were like, uh-oh, we got to move. And we got to move quickly because they're getting all the attention, and they may get money. And if they get money, what are we going to do? Because what do sports owners not like to do, Chris? Spend what?
Money.
Their own money. They want somebody else to spend money.
Of course.
But the Glazers and the Bucks have had plans for better than 2 to 3 years about what they think is either a massive renovation, and the key word here is massive, or blank. What's blank? That'd be a brand new stadium. So the Bucks have been behind closed doors looking at all different options that include renovating Raymond James Stadium, or building a new stadium. Either way, the goal is to, one, make it the most modern stadium, just like the Jags are building, but to stay what? In the Super Bowl rotation. So this is calculated about what the Bucks did. Tampa Bay Times runs a story that the Bucks say, hey, we're going to meet. We got to get together with Hillsborough County. Why? Because there were deadlines coming up that the Bucks, based on the current lease, had to meet in order to begin to talks about renovating or building a new stadium. Well, the Glazers go on the record about, hey, we, have always talked about this. We want to take a look at what our options are. Nobody throws out any dollars, but then the Tampa Bay Times story reports you're talking about better than $1 billion. Uh-oh. Why? Because now you're talking about multiple $1 billion in an area that, and believe me, the Tampa Bay area is doing well in the economy. We're all struggling right now, but overall it's done well for the economy. But again, you're asking about a lot of money, and where does it come from? And people can get really creative in how they try to take certain tax dollars. But it's not the best time to tell the public, hey, we're going to ask you for even more, like billions. And they don't have the tourist dollars like Orange County does. But the Bucks know that they can say, listen, we've won multiple championships. We host Super Bowls. The NFL is the biggest sport. But let's go back now to the Bucks plan. The Bucks plan calls for major renovations to Raymond James Stadium or a new stadium. Part of that major renovation means, according to the Tampa Bay Times, and as I spoke to 3 different people yesterday, means they would not be able to play a season in their town. Chris, you want to guess what year that likely would be?
Would that be, 2028?
Bingo. What city is about to host an NFL team in 2027?
I think that's Orlando.
What team would be? I mean, what city would be the logical place to play if you had to leave your stadium for a season? Whether you are, and by the way, either A, they're going to renovate, or B, if they build a new stadium, which I cannot for the life of me see that being an option right now. If they build a new stadium, then you just stay in Raymond James. But if you're going to renovate, where would you play?
That'd be Orlando.
And I'm telling you this, and I got two different sources that I trust completely. The preliminary conversations already happened with a couple people to say, hey, and this is before the Jags thing was announced this week, was, hey, I know you're going to get the Jags. Can we get a meeting and talk about different scenarios? That's not a commitment to say in 20. That's just to feel out and to say, hey, if we do this, we may need a place to play. What do you think? And the year lines up. And that's not brand new in the last 24 hours. That's apparently been out there for, as I learned yesterday, for a couple months. That the Bucs realized that they had to get more public about their pursuit because the Rays story gained momentum. And they need to kind of jump in front of the Rays. So Tampa Bay's got a lot of financial challenges for these sports venues. And I'm not saying that they can't figure it out, but there's a fight going on about who's first in line. And the Bucs are trying to get first in line. And the Rays are sitting there going, well, wait a minute, I mean, we've kind of gone down this path, but you throw another $1 billion, it gets real interesting.
So I know real quick, sorry to cut you off. I know you had mentioned that you can't see the Bucs just completely building a new stadium. Where would they even put it? Would they have to tear down Ray J as it is, or where it is now, in order to build potentially that new stadium?
Oh, I have no idea. I mean, I mean, obviously, if you drive to that stadium, there's that large piece of land that kind of is where parking right now. Could you basically do what the Yankees did? They took the piece of land, built the stadium, and turned the old place into a parking lot. I'm getting way ahead of myself, but I'm just telling you that the Bucs didn't wake up last week and go, what are we doing with our stadium? That's been like 2-3 years, and they have deadlines about their lease with the Tampa Sports Authority about when to meet and talk about it. Well, they're doing it now. The meeting's likely going to take place next week, and they kind of let a few people know in this area. Well, in your area, I'm in Morgantown, West Virginia. Hey, how about lunch? And don't think for a second, by the way, even before the informal contact, don't think for a second that Steve Hogan didn't know about the Bucs wanting to look at renovations. Again, that's not a new story. That story's like 3 years old. And as Steve began the process with, and I'm not speaking for Steve Hogan here. Steve can speak for himself. But as Steve began talking with the Jacksonville Jaguars, it's his job to kind of know what the rest of the landscape is. And everybody knew that the Bucs were going to come and either ask for major renovations or a new stadium. And the belief was major renovations. And this was at a time that they thought the Rays were going to work it out with St. Pete. And Hillsboro's like, well, if they're going to make a deal, then, we know the Bucs are coming. Well, Steve's not stupid. Jason Siegel, the sports commission, is not stupid. You keep your eyes and ears open. And if you see a scenario where, okay, if the Bucs are going to renovate, and by the way, you could do it. UCF did it, meaning you renovate or you begin construction, you stop, you play the season, you finish construction, or you do construction, you stop. And that remains an option, by the way. But the story in the Tampa Bay Times was a little bit more specific about likely needing a place to play. Well, they're not going to Clearwater High School. They're not going to Hard Rock Stadium, although they do want what Hard Rock has when it comes to the quasi roof. And here we go. But Chris, could you imagine a scenario with the Bucs in 28 after the Jags in 27?
Well, now I'm just kind of wondering, like, timing wise, like, wouldn't you have wanted to kind of get these renovations done or put it out there sooner when you had maybe Tom Brady in town, when you won a division title?
No, because how many years now is Brady gone?
It's been what, 4?
Yeah, so it was no. I mean, the Bucs knew at some point, but you got to go back, Chris. You go back 4 years. We're coming out of COVID. That wasn't the time to go ask anybody for $1 billion. So you you kind of wait.
But after
the Bucks
after the collapse they just had during last season, you want to come out and ask for $1 billion? Timing
here's
just
my
seems kind
argument.
of
What
off.
does it matter now? I mean, the Bucks aren't going anywhere. So, this is for Tampa Bay to figure out. This is for Hillsborough County to figure out. But from what I understand, the Bucks were like, hey, we got to get out there. We got to get out there. And they had a deadline coming up about when to meet with Hillsborough County to begin with. And they basically exercised that. But the Lightning may have been the smartest of all. The Lightning had a deal through 2037 and went and said, hey, the world of arenas have changed. Let's get together for this and get an upgrade. They did it before everybody else came asking for a lot more money. And now it gets complicated. But I think for Orlando, the benefit is you get the Jags at 27, and now you're in prime position to tell the Bucks if that happens, hey, proof right here. So let us know what you want to do in 28, if that is an option. But you may see not just one season of NFL football.
And can I ask again? This would jump years in the future, but should Orlando really show up and show out for the Jags in 27, potentially the Bucks in 28? The NFL looks at all these people coming to the games. Does that make a push for Orlando to become the next NFL team?
I don't think so. Proximity to existing teams. Hopefully at some point in my lifetime, I doubt it, and I plan on living a lot longer. But I just don't see that would happen. I think the National Football League's future expansion is outside the United States. And now, again, there's no downs, and you never say never, but as long as the Bucks are in Tampa, I don't see any scenario in which that would happen. All right, let's do this because I went long there, but I think it's interesting stuff. And I think the background of the Lightning and then how far back the Bucks went and everything. But I promised I'd play this. I played it on the bridge with Kelly from the Magic Hawks game the other night. And Gogo Batazzi's flagrant foul. Steve Holman is the longtime voice of the Atlanta Hawks. And if you're a Hawks fan, you love him. You love him because of his passion. And here is his call of the Gogo Batazzi play, start to finish, and it is good.
Jalen at the head of the key. Now right side he goes Dyson. Dyson in the lane. Dyson turns. Pass. He goes to Jalen. Jalen in the lane. Get it knocked away, but it goes right to Jonathan Flamingo. Now to Jock, who goes up and got fouled hard. Jock Landale just got knocked down. A terrible, dirty play by the Orlando Magic. This is what they do. They just knocked down Jock Landale and hurt him badly. Oh, my goodness. Somebody should get thrown out of this game. What a dirty, rotten team this Orlando Magic is. Oh, my goodness gracious. Jock Landale got knocked down hard. Dyson Daniels wanted to go over and help him. Pray to God that Jock Landale is not hurt badly, folks. That was a dirty, rotten play by Orlando. I don't care what anybody says or anybody replays on this one. This is a dirty, rotten team. They get down by 30 points, and this is what they do. They are dirty, rotten players, every one of them on that team. They can't take the losing. The Hawks are going to be 4-0 against this team. They whine and complain on everything, and then they go to dirty, rotten tactics. Jock is up on his feet. Let's hope he's okay. My goodness gracious. That Batazzi has no business even being in the league. Gogo Batazzi should be thrown out of the game, thrown out of the league for a play like that. He is a no-talent, dirty, rotten player. They're going to come over and look at this. They better throw him out on a flagrant 2. There's no doubt that this should be a flagrant 2. If they call any.
How great is that?
Can we call this a dirty, rotten beat of sport?
How great is that clip? I'm sorry. I know we're late for Richard Hill. Play the beginning again, like the first 45 seconds. It's so good. It's so good.
Jalen at the head of the key. Now right side he goes Dyson. Dyson in the lane. Dyson turns. Pass. He goes to Jalen. Jalen in the lane. Get it knocked away, but it goes right to Jonathan Flamingo. Now to Jock, who goes up and got fouled hard. Jock Landale just got knocked down. A terrible, dirty play by the Orlando Magic. This is what they do. They just knocked down Jock Landale and hurt him badly. Oh, my goodness. Somebody should get thrown out of this game. What a dirty, rotten team this Orlando Magic is. Oh, my goodness gracious. Jock Landale got knocked down hard. Dyson Daniels wanted to go over and help him. Pray to God that Jock Landale is not hurt badly, folks. That was a dirty, rotten play by Orlando. I don't care what anybody says or anybody replays on this one. This is a dirty, rotten team. They get down by 30 points, and this is what they do. They are dirty, rotten players, every one of them on that team.
Everyone.
They can't take the losing.
It's so good. It's
That's
so
fantastic.
good. Dirty, rotten, every single one of them.
Throw 'em
Every
out.
one of them.
Throw him out of the league.
Like, makes you think, like, are the Magic like the bad boy Pistons? You're like, what the hell is he talking
Good
about?
Lord.
Oh, my God. Steve Holman, treasure that man. What a clip. Unbelievable. Never, ever, ever delete that clip. Make 10 copies so you have that forever. God, it's so good. It's so good. Oh, my God. This is what they do. They're dirty, rotten players.
Every single
one of them. Richard Hale, Sports Law segments next.
Time now for this week's Sports Law segment with Richard Hale.
You are listening to the Beat of Sports. Chris Vasquez here. Get to do a little bit of sports law with Richard Hale for Marc Daniels. I'm excited, Richard. How are you, sir?
I'm excited too. Happy to be here. Thanks so much for having me.
No, absolutely. We always appreciate you coming on. We will kick things off here right away with Tiger Woods. He was involved in the crash. He blew a .0 on the breathalyzer. He refuses a urine test. He's got pills on him. He does plead not guilty, and the judge gives him permission to leave the country for treatment. What are your thoughts on this legal side of this Tiger Woods story?
Yeah, so try to get over my sadness. Of course, all of us watching Tiger Woods growing up and just the icon that he is or was, and it's certainly a sad state of affairs now. You see somebody struggling with, this aspect of their life. It's difficult, but separate that from the legal side for a minute. So just recently in the state of Florida, for refusing the test as he did, of course, we know he took the breathalyzer, blew a 0, but did refuse the urine test. That's an automatic misdemeanor. Previously in the past, a refusal would categorize as a misdemeanor only if you had previously refused. So that's a new wrinkle in the law now. So he will have to deal with that, certainly. The broader implication here is, okay, what does that mean for this particular charge? And here we have a situation where the urine test the breathalyzer comes back as 0. So we obviously don't have any evidence there to indicate that he was impaired while driving. You can't necessarily use any urine because he didn't provide. So what are we going to do here? Now, all we have at this point are the accident itself. Certainly, you don't have accidents unless something like that happens. So we could point to the accident itself as some indication that maybe he was impaired. But the other thing we're going to have to really rely on here are the testimony of the officers. What did they see? How was he acting? We have a mugshot photo where his eyes don't look dilated. So if that's something that could be implied from the medication use, we're going to have to, factor that in here. But we're really going to have to factor on the statements of the officers, statements of any witnesses that may have been there at the time regarding how he was acting. And so, if you're the prosecution, you're the state here, you have to decide, okay, what do we think that we can charge him with here and actually win? Number one, this is Tiger Woods. It's not like there are going to be people out there who don't know who Tiger Woods is. Number two, not that this should be politicized, but Tiger Woods is dating President Trump's ex-daughter-in-law, and President Trump has come out in support of Tiger Woods and has indicated, hey, he needs to get the help that he needs here. And so, does that factor in at all, especially in Jupiter, West Palm Beach, where this occurred? So, there are a number of factors that the government has to consider before they bring these charges, all of which I've just touched on. And then, at the end of the day, what can they prove to a jury of, 12 of his peers? And then that's going to be the real question here is, what does the state feel like they have evidence enough to prove? And so they're going to carefully weigh that before they charge him here. And then, will Tiger Woods ultimately, obviously he's pleaded not guilty. We all know that at this point. The judge has accepted the plea, allowed him to leave the country to seek treatment. What does he ultimately do? Does he change his plea? Is there some type of negotiated plea with the state? Or does this thing end up at trial? We'll wait and see.
I want to get back to what you had mentioned about Tiger Woods and who he's dating and who he is in a second, but does it matter that he had pills on him? Does that matter?
Well, certainly it would matter if he didn't have a prescription for those particular pills. In this case, I do believe that he had a prescription for at least what was on his person. Now, he may have taken other things that we don't know about. I think he did suggest that there were other pills that he was taking. We don't know how those pills may have impacted what he was already taking, but so long as he had a legal prescription for what was on him, and I believe he did, then that wouldn't necessarily be an issue in this case.
Okay. This isn't Tiger Woods' first DUI, DWI incident. He's had a few throughout his lifetime because of who he is, because of who he's dating and where this occurred. Do you believe that there's any sort of special treatment involved?
You'd like to believe that that's not the case, but I think we've seen time and again, especially when it comes to Tiger, that he's kind of been treated with white gloves. And so, we'd like to think we're all equal under the law. I don't know that that's always true. I think there are plenty of cases out there where, unfortunately, that's not always the case. It does seem to suggest that he's been given some special treatment here in the past. Is this another one of those cases? I don't know. Certainly, you'd love to see the guy get his life back under control. Is this the incident that hopefully is a catalyst towards that? I think we'd all love to believe that's the case. I think we're all still kind of in some way rooting for Tiger to figure it all out. But I think we'd be naive to think that it doesn't factor in somewhat.
All right, moving over to high school football. We have a high school football coach paid money from a player, and it looks like he was serving as an agent for said player. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, certainly that this is as black letter as it gets. There's a law written into the FHSAA handbook, which is Florida High School Athletics Association's handbook, which says you cannot, as a coach, receive NIL compensation for your efforts. Now, here we have a high school kid who aligned himself with this particular coach, thinking that it would help his NIL chances, and it appears that it did. The kid got an NIL deal out of it. Then we see some what we'll call kickback payments to the coach that after the NIL deal is signed, the coach ends up receiving some payments. Now that they're going to have to come up with whatever reason they can, I guess, at this point for what those payments are for, apart from them being a kickback for an NIL deal, because in the way I read the law, it's expressly prohibited. So will there be penalty to serve? Most certainly, unless there's a better explanation. Now, this story just broke this week, and so there's a lot more information, I'm sure, to come of it. But right now, at least the paper trail doesn't look great for this particular coach.
Richard Hale, our sports law expert, Hale and Jacobson, the firm online at hhjlegal.com. Mike O'Donnell at the Final Four site in Indianapolis joins us to talk hoops next.
This is Step Back 3 with MOD. Straightaway 3, it's it. Let's talk college hoops. Let's talk hoops with college basketball analyst Mike O'Donnell.
We talk basketball these Fridays, and no bigger weekend ahead than where we're at with the Final Four. Mike joins us from Indianapolis, where he will call the Division II National Championship on main CBS coming up on Sunday. Lander and Gannon. I study both the Bearcats and the Golden Knights. Lander beat Nova Southeastern to get to the championship game. They won the title last year, and Grayson Pritzel's got 99 threes. I like Lander in this game, Mike.
You like Lander? I'm worried about the pace of Gannon, actually, because they play a similar style to Nova Southeastern, where it's like 40 minutes of press. I mean, it's going to be a good game, man. It really is.
And who are you working with? Are you and Rich Waltz doing the game?
Me and Rich Waltz doing the game. Yeah, Tiffany Blackman's sideline.
Awesome.
And Rich is all-time great guy and just fantastic play-by-play.
Now, where are we playing this? Are we at Hinkle?
No, Gamebridge.
Okay, so where the Pacers play.
Yeah. So it might be my first time in that arena, which would be incredible. And I'll stay through Tuesday, and I'll actually be going to Lucas Oil for the national title game. I'll be doing some pre and post game stuff for studio, which would be really fun.
That's really cool. And what time's tip on CBS? For your game?
1 p.m. on Sunday is the D2 national title game.
Got it.
The talent it's really good. It's going to be a fun game.
That's good. Very happy, excited for you. Let's get to the 4 teams playing for the Division I national championship. I want to go back and get your thoughts. The ending of Duke and UConn, well documented, well broken down. I maintain that it's easy for us as armchair quarterbacks to know what we would do and what players should do in situations like that. Duke could have held the ball multiple times. They didn't. Just take me through what you saw, the incredible UConn comeback, and what happened at the end.
Well, it's way more about the UConn comeback than it was, I think, a full Duke collapse. I think it was, you could tell watching it that Dan Hurley, really orchestrated that comeback by thinking it in terms of multiple 4-minute games of where you got to cut the lead at this mark, you got to cut the lead, then they had to cut the lead at this mark, and then they adjusted the way they were playing defensively. They started to run some new sets offensively, and they were really chipping away at that lead. About that was the right read. There was nobody back there for UConn defensively. 2 Duke players were wide open. It was the execution of it that just didn't work out. If that pass is 1 inch higher, or there's a ball fake, and then he throws underneath those 2 defenders, the game's over. Duke wins, and Duke's in the Final Four. I do feel for Caden Boozer. It was absolutely the right read to make. They got the ball in the middle of the floor. It just happens to be one of those things where March just gets you, and March got Caden Boozer in that moment.
Can I ask you one more? I spoke about this in Mike Tuck yesterday. I did it on the show a couple of days ago. The Dan Hurley Roger errors, mini head contact. I guess I've just been a defender of Hurley. I think context matters in the relationship with Ayers. Ayers understands Hurley. His success, I think, makes him get away with more things. Do you have any comment of people who lost their mind and felt he should have been hit with a technical?
No, I've never seen that before. I mean, but we've never seen Dan Hurley. We've never seen him in any character like Dan Hurley before. So that was brand new. I've never seen the interaction between like that in my entire life. And I am sorry when you hear Mark. I've been navigating. That was wild. I was shocked. Did it bother me? No. But I will say that was, if you're doing that in the middle of the game, you're getting teed up. But at the end of the game and the relationships there, I understand why it wasn't that big of a deal. Apparently, Roger Ayers didn't even remember the moment. I think that's how, I guess, I'm going to say good of a relationship there is. I don't think the game was called in UConn's favor at all, by the way. I thought it was a very well-called game. I do not think a head coach should be butting a referee's head. That's number one. You should really never make any contact at all with the referee.
Let's get to the matchups here. I'm going to ask you to first look at Illinois. This is a European flavored team. The Brennan went out, scouted, and brought in a number of European players with experience. He mixes in another talented freshman. And I wouldn't say they've been under the radar, but the other brands got more attention this year. But how good is Illinois, and how do you see the matchup with UConn?
Very, very good. This is going to be, I think, an exceptionally close game. Both teams run some of the best offense that you will see in college basketball. All season long, everybody knew, if you followed college basketball closely, how good Illinois' offense is and was. Their knock was their defense, where they really couldn't guard anybody. Well, in the last 10 to 12 games of the season, Illinois fixed that. They've grown into becoming not just a decent defensive team, but a very good defensive team. They have a lottery pick in Keaton Wagler, and they have multiple European players that they brought from overseas, from the Balkans. And you've got 6'8", 6'9", 6'10" guys that can all dribble, shoot, pass at a very, very high level. The most impressive thing about that group is that their toughness on the defensive end has grown throughout the course of the season. And that's how they were able to really advance in the NCAA tournaments, and specifically on the wings. They're not an overly physical team, but they've gotten to become very, very physical. Mark, I think that matchup's going to be great. I do think, though, that Karis Reed for UConn is the most underappreciated player in the NCAA tournament in the post for UConn, who could really, really bother Illinois' bigs.
Is there any part of UConn that you're concerned about that you win a game like that? Although Hurley's such a good coach, they run so many good things that you're not ready for a game like this. Although the other side of it is, although UConn's not playing 9 seniors, they do have guys that have experienced this before. I think there's value to it. You can give me a 20-year-old European that's played pro for 4 years, but they've never played in front of 70,000 people either.
No, it's totally different, and I absolutely agree. You have to remember, it's Dan Hurley and multiple assistant coaches on that UConn staff, and Alex Caravan and 2 other role players for UConn. They've played in the biggest moments. And the biggest moment in college basketball isn't just the Final Four, isn't just the NCAA tournament, it's the national championship. So you have multiple coaches, including your best player and your captain, Alex Caravan, and 2 other significant role player, contributing players have played on the biggest stage. That absolutely matters, because if you've never been in that moment, if you in that arena, that stadium, there's going to be moments where, for the average to good player, they're going to feel big moments. But for Caravan, for Hurley, for the UConn coaching staff, they've experienced the biggest moment possible. It's going to feel normal to them. And so if you're looking for an advantage standpoint, absolutely, there's an advantage to UConn's way in terms of experience. No question about it.
I wish I could get a best of 7 of Michigan, Arizona, and I mean no disrespect to the other 2, because in one game anything can happen. I think a 7-game series would be unbelievable between these 2 teams, but they only play one on Saturday tomorrow. Give me the keys, and if there's a team you think you lean towards more.
So I'll just jump. I'm picking Arizona to win. I picked Arizona to win it when I filled out my bracket. I've seen no reason to kind of amend that. This is just a gargantuan matchup. These are the 2 best teams in college basketball. I thought Arizona should have been the number 1 overall seed. But they're similar in terms of size. They're not similar in terms of style. So the one thing for Michigan that will really benefit them is the 3-point shooting. It's an interesting stat is Morez Johnson, who's kind of a hybrid post player for Michigan. He is the only player in the NCAA tournament for Michigan who is shooting under 36% from 3. Michigan is a top 30 3-point shooting team in the country. With all that size, all that other, they are elite 3-point shooting team. If you go back and if you watch a couple of the games in Arizona, one of the games they lost, Texas Tech hit 11 threes. They were fantastic from the 3-point line, and Texas Tech was just trading threes for 2s, and that's how they were able to beat Arizona in the regular season. In the Big 12 tournament, that Arizona-Iowa State game, which is probably the best game in the regular season for college basketball. Iowa State hit 12 points. The way to beat Arizona is you must be not just good, but great from a three-point line. And the magic number, I think, is going to have to be 11 for Michigan. I think Michigan's going to have to make 11 threes in this game. The advantage Arizona has, besides their depth and how just the talent, the backcourt is better than Michigan's backcourt. The backcourt specifically of Jaden Bradley, Braden Burries, Karchenkov, and Del Orso off the bench, that they have the significant advantage in a backcourt perspective. It's going to be different. The front court for Arizona, the way they play, is going to really challenge Michigan's front court, who's a little bit more perimeter oriented. But Mark, I mean, how good is that game going to be tomorrow? My goodness, man! Can't wait.
It's going to be it's going to be a fantastic game. We may find ourselves on Tuesday morning though with a team that won the national championship, and is their coach going to stay? Both have been asked about the North Carolina job. Dusty May, I thought, gave a more committed to Michigan answer when he said my alma mater became open and I made a deal that I would never talk about it. But he was a little bit more committed to Michigan. Tommy Lloyd, I don't know. And I mean, you can share your thoughts, and it's a classic case of setting a fan base up. If you don't get one of those two guys, they're not going to like who North Carolina hires. But easy if Arizona wins a championship, and on Tuesday their coach is not possibly returning.
Well, Mark, I'm here in Indy for the Final Four. There's a lot of conversations going on with a lot of
Hello.
People. Yeah,
Yep.
I was even in the elevator with Ward Manuel last night. I'm staying in the same hotel as Michigan.
Michigan
How
AD,
about that?
nice.
Yeah, that's right. And I didn't talk to Ward about this. So the general consensus is amongst people that are a lot smarter than me, here at the Final Four, is that it's three primary candidates right now. It is Tommy Lloyd, Dusty May, and Billy Donovan. Those are the three primary candidates. I have no idea for sure. That's insider information of just conversations that I've heard. It does sound like that Dusty May is a little bit more committed to Michigan. I don't know. I'm just going off of press conferences. I haven't talked to Tommy Lloyd or Dusty May. But I think those would be the top three candidates. And to both of those coaches' credits, though, they've been pretty dialed in with their messaging. I haven't, even if they are being heavily courted by North Carolina, which why wouldn't you be heavily courted by North Carolina? Those two guys, I think they've answered the press pretty well in that standpoint.
Hey, have fun this weekend. I know Sunday's special. You earned it on main CBS. Say hi to Rich for me and enjoy the Final Four, and we'll catch up next week.
I will. Thank you so much. And Drew Spiros says hello, by the way.
Man, give that guy a big hug for me. I love him. Great guy. Thank you, Mike. Mike O'Donnell is at the Final Four in Indianapolis. He's also calling the Division II National Championship on Sunday on main CBS. And great for Mike. And he's in the middle of all that college basketball festival happening in a great town that embraces an event like that in Indianapolis. I think, I think a week, 2 weeks ago, I didn't think Tommy Lloyd would leave in any scenario. And then I just keep reading stuff of a little bit of a contentious relationship with an AD. It's a different AD than the one that hired him. It's I need money and I want to compete and everything. He's got a $9 million buyout, which I guess North Carolina doesn't care about that. And I look, I'm selfish because I want a Big 12 team to win the national championship. So I'm rooting for Arizona. Plus, I think they're the best team of those playing. And can you just imagine? And somebody, I saw on Twitter, go, well, Lane Kiffin left. Lane Kiffin didn't win a national championship. Lane Kiffin left before the playoff. Okay. Tommy Lloyd may coach his team in a national championship and win and then leave. That's totally different than Lane Kiffin being Lane Kiffin and doing Lane Kiffin stuff. So it's one of the other storylines to watch in Indianapolis. And as we've talked before, if you don't get any of these names, and I at least what I was told, Billy Donovan is committed to staying with the Bulls, whether the Bulls want to keep him or not. But you'd have to wait. I think the Bulls finish April 12th. You got a transfer portal that opens up 5 days after the Final Four. So the Donovan thing, I just don't know how that lines up. And I think Dusty May was a little bit more committed to Michigan. But the Tommy Lloyd thing, he may just use it as leverage to go, one, I want more money, and two, I want more money for my players in the program. That's up for Arizona to decide. And I will say this, and I've only done one game against Arizona in that building. I broadcast a couple of games there years ago, but Arizona loves their basketball. I mean, their fan support is top notch, and there's money there. There's a lot of money in Arizona basketball, but whatever he thinks he needs, I don't know. But can you imagine if you win a championship Monday night and on Tuesday, like maybe you don't even fly home with a team? Wow. We shall see if it happens that quickly or if it's nothing and Carolina's got to go elsewhere to find a job or find someone for the job. Tonight on this station, Magic basketball are in Dallas against the Mavs. And then the Magic are in New Orleans on Sunday. I would think that they realize these are two games they must have if they want to avoid the 9-10 play-in game. If they have any hope of getting out of the play-in, these are two games you better win. Regardless of who's ticked off at anybody, these are two important games that you better win. The 11 o'clock hour features a week in review, studs and duds of the week, but we kick it off with the news when we come back next.
Let's really do the news.
Yes.
Now it is time to do the news.
But now it's time for the news.
11 o'clock hour, WYGM Orlando, WJR, HD2 Cocoa Beach. It's the Beat of Sports. Marc Daniels. I'm in Morgantown, West Virginia with UCF Baseball. Chris is back in studios, and yes, I have no voice. Magic play the Dallas Mavericks tonight. Chris, I want you to go grab the Steve Holman clip again, because somebody texts me and says, is that real? Did you think I made that clip up? Was my response to that person.
That is some serious editing.
As the Magic, instead of taking the Dallas Mavericks to begin what are two must-win games, although we said that a lot lately, but the Magic against the Mavericks and the Pelicans. Go back to that game against the Atlanta Hawks. The Hawks sweep the season series against the Magic. This is the play. Gogo Batazzi takes a Hawk player down. Steve Holman is the longtime voice of the Hawks. You either love Steve Holman if you're a Hawks fan. If you're not, you'd be like, who the hell is that guy? But let me tell you something who he doesn't like. He doesn't like you. Here's this clip.
Allen at the head of the key. Now right side, he goes Dyson. Dyson in the lane. Dyson turns. Pass. He goes to Jalen. Jalen in the lane. Get it knocked away, but it goes right to Jonathan Kuminga. Now to Jock, who goes up and got fouled hard. Jock Landale just got knocked down. A terrible, dirty play by the Orlando Magic. This is what they do. They just knocked down Jock Landale and hurt him badly. Oh, my goodness. Somebody should get thrown out of this game. What a dirty, rotten team this Orlando Magic is. Oh, my goodness gracious. Jock Landale got knocked down hard. Dyson Daniels wanted to go over and help him. Pray to God that Jock Landale is not hurt badly, folks. That was a dirty, rotten play by Orlando. I don't care what anybody says or anybody replays on this one. This is a dirty, rotten team. They get down by 30 points, and this is what they do. They are dirty, rotten players, every one of them on that team.
Every one.
They can't take the losing. The Hawks are going to be 4-0 against this team. They whine and complain on everything, and then they go to dirty, rotten tactics. Jock is up on his feet. Let's hope he's okay. My goodness gracious.
My goodness.
That Batazzi has no business even being in the league.
Dirty, rotten Beat of Sports.
That is a real clip, folks. That's not AI. That's the actual call on 92.9 FM in Atlanta by Steve Holman. You know, I text Chris, I text Frank Lova, our engineer. Frank does all of the visiting teams for the NBA that come here. I go, you engineered this clip. He goes, every single word. I was sitting right there when he said
that is fantastic. That is fantastic.
Oh, my God. I mean, I've let emotion sometimes get into a call, but not at that length. Not like that, man. Oh, my God.
Phenomenal.
That is just next level stuff. Wow. Final four for the women tonight, college basketball. 4-1 seed, South Carolina, UConn, Texas, and UCLA. Tomorrow, the men's Final Four. We just had Mike O'Donnell on talking about that, Mindy. It's UConn and Illinois. Then the second game is Arizona and Michigan will play the late game from Indianapolis. SEC Alabama Athletic Director Greg Byrne is the latest to say that the time has come perhaps to do away with the SEC championship in football. Understands it's a moneymaker, but with the college football playoff likely expanding to 16 teams and the SEC going to a 9-game schedule in the conference, he sees that there probably is a point to do away with that game. That's not shocking because a number of conferences the last year or two have talked about that. I said last year, I don't think there'll be a single conference championship game within 3 years. I think I'll be right about that. Not that that was some shocking prediction, but there seems to be a little bit more vocal people in the SEC that are talking about doing away with that game. That's not an easy game to give up because the amount of money that's being made by the conference when they play the SEC title game. But I think they're going to argue with an expanded playoff. Why do you want to harm a team that could lose a game and lose perhaps a higher seed and maybe even lose a home game? So we'll see what kind of traction that gets. UCF spring football practice continues. Alonzo Barnett is out. He did practice or at least go through some drills with UCF. A lot of attention on what he is and not doing for the Knights in the first week of spring drills. By the way, Magic again tonight take on the Dallas Mavericks. Can I get one little thing off my chest, Chris?
Absolutely.
And I should be saving my voice, but I'm I get it, man. If you're a Magic fan, it's hard to be a fan right now. Chris, would you agree? I mean, it's hard.
Yes.
Because of all the things that is going on right now with Jamal Mosley, the blowouts and everything. And the bigger picture is it's another wasted season. Okay. So I get that. I really do. And I acknowledged a while ago that the landscape of the media in covering local teams has changed significantly over the years. And what I mean by that is in consolidation, in the fact that newspapers have cut staff, radio has cut staff, and there's a new age media of those that do a podcast or blog. So if you go back years ago, and what I think it was last week when I was at that Orlando Sentinel event on the Past, Present, and Future Sports, and Brian Schmitz was there, and George Diaz was there, and Bianchi was there, and Steve Hogan, and Jason Siegel, and myself, and I was honored they asked me to be a part of it. But for years, when the Orlando Sentinel covered the Orlando Magic, there was a beat reporter for the team that covered the team every day, going back to Barry Cooper and Tim Povtak, and then Brian Schmitz. And over the years, that's gone through a number of people. Right now, it's Jason Beatty, and Jason does a very good job traveling with the team most of the time and covers the team. Mike Bianchi is the columnist for the Sentinel in sports, and Mike writes about a lot of things, and once in a while he'll write about the Magic. But for years, the Magic had multiple, the Sentinel had multiple people covering the team. And for a period of time, for example, if Tim Povtak, who was also at that event, Tim was the beat reporter. Brian Schmitz was a reporter who also wrote a lot of columns about the Magic. And back then also there was sports departments in our local TV stations, which then was 2, 6, and 9 before 35 came along, and then 35. And they each had multiple people in the sports department. And the sports at 6 o'clock and 11 o'clock, we get 3, 4, sometimes 5 minutes. That's changed, man. It's changed. This format's changed. Okay. This station has resources that allow us to do some things and not do other things. So I was reading Mike's column the other day that he wrote about the Magic, and he said, you know, in his view, you could fire the players, but you got to fire Jamal Mosley because that's just the way it is. And then I get it. Social media is a place that you go to find people that agree with you, makes you feel better about yourself, and you can always find hatred on there. But I came across this trail of comments of people that were basically trashing Mike, and to a degree ripping me, ripping Brandon, ripping the station about our lack of coverage, how the Sentinel's this, the Sentinel's that, and everything. And you know what? You've got that platform to do it. And believe me, years ago, I learned that it doesn't really bother me. But when you say that the sports media of Orlando sucks in its coverage of the Magic, who the hell are you talking to? And I'm not saying like are you yelling at me. Just who are you screaming at? Who are you screaming at? Jason Beatty? Who are you screaming at? The few hardworking people on the TV side that are there to cover home games? Because me, I don't go cover the team as a reporter much at all because of my schedule. Okay, so who are you ripping? And by the way, do you really think that if Mike Bianchi wrote a column that said Jamal Mosley should be fired, that the DeVos family fires him? Like, if you think that's the problem, that the media doesn't call out the Magic enough, get a clue, man. Go back and do another one of your podcasts that 6 people listen to, okay? Or go in your circle of friends on social media and have fun with that. That's not why the Magic are losing. That's not why Jamal Mosley's likely going to be fired. It's not why Paddle's going to figure out what he wants to be and who the Magic hire and so forth. Mike can write a column every single day about firing the basketball team's coach, and it doesn't mean that they're going to get fired. You want the media to hold them accountable to what degree? What? You want to sit there and ask Paolo, hey, you really stink lately. Like you think that changes stuff? The ultimate accountability is you as a consumer either supporting the team or not supporting the team, period. And when that building starts to see 2/3 capacity and half capacity, that's speaking volumes more than a jackass like me or somebody that does a podcast that says Jamal Mosley should be fired. Listen, that to some degree is fun for sports fans, for people that do podcasts, that write blogs, that do shows like this. And you know what it's called? It's called content. It's called content. It doesn't resonate with the front office to go, well, you know, Marc Daniels said this, or Mike Bianchi wrote that, or the guy that does this podcast says this, so therefore we have to act. If you think that's how sports teams on a professional level and collegiate level respond, then you don't have a clue. You really have no clue. Every day when I come to do this thing in whatever form it is, even without a voice, I'm realistic as to what our objective is. It's to inform and entertain. You may not like what I say. You may like what I say. You may laugh at attempted jokes. You may think it's stupid. And that's what we do. That's it. Anybody that wants to make it out to be bigger, then you don't have a sense of reality. Your podcast or your column or your blog or my opinion doesn't lead to the firing of somebody. It stirs a pot and it generates reaction among people that are obsessed with clicks and likes. Okay, so I guess in a way I'm defending my good friend Mike Bianchi, who doesn't need any defense. Believe me, Mike's got thicker skin than me when it comes to the criticism. But calling the Orlando Magic media out, get a life, man. Seriously. Years ago, when there was 15, 20 people to cover the team on a somewhat regular basis, it was a different media. It's a different world right now, man. It's a different world. And you can go to the press conference every single game if you had access to and have a set of you know what, and you know what? You won't. You know why? Because at the end of the day, we're still kind of human with a heart. And to sit there and go, well, Jamal, don't you think you should be fired? Oh, that would make you the tough guy. And like that would make the Magic fire him? It's not how it happens, man. It's not how it happens. Those of us in this business that think they have the power to wield such an opinion that leads to such change are very few and have a different sense of what reality is, man. You could rip the Magic every single day on whatever platform you want. It doesn't mean the DeVos family is going to go, hey, so-and-so said this, therefore we'll make a decision. If they don't make those decisions, that's impacting their business, and that's on them. I've said this before, I'll say it again. I think the Magic fan base in the last whatever number of years or whatever the hell this has been, and the multiple rebuilds and all the injuries and so forth, has been incredible. I think the support that they've given to that basketball team is more than that team deserves. I truly believe it, even in the next home game. And by the way, a Magic fan had every right to boo like they did last game because you're paying a lot of money to go see a product that should be better. And it's up to management to figure out if they don't make it better, then they're going to lose the hard-paying customers that go there. And you don't have to buy a ticket to support the basketball team either. But ripping what you think the media's role should be in 2026, get out of here. The Week in Review next.
Missed anything during the week?
What?
We've got you covered.
Yeah! Here we go!
Let's take a look back at the week that was. It's the Beat of Sports Week in Review with Marc Daniels.
Yeah, it's the Magic embarrassing themselves. So I talked about the narrative of the season for Orlando and how we view games and moments of the year. Listen, that stuff about the coach, this is what it is right now, man. If they've tuned him out, then they're going to play that way down the stretch, and they're not going to care. And maybe they don't. I don't know. And if the president or GM, whatever the title is, he can't see that, then he shouldn't be the guy making the decision to keep or to fire the coach and then hire the next coach. And it's not an excuse. It's just the narrative of this team now for another year of the injuries and the ripple effect and asking role guys to play more minutes, and they're not really talented enough to do that. And then the frustration builds, and the guys that have been healthy that know that they would be better if they had certain guys playing, that is into the pot that you stew along with whatever the situation is with the relationship of coach and players, and you have the formula of what you're watching right now, which is a team that looks as if they run out of gas, and when the going gets tough, mail it in. On Tuesday's program, Matt Michelle joined us for his weekly visit on how UCF's going to replace some key players on the defensive line for Scott Frost.
Yeah, that's going to be the big question. You know, they're going to have to replace both their edge rushers. You know, Malachi left, and then Nigel Kelly also left. He's trying to get into the NFL draft as well. So, you know, they got a few options right now. You know, I think they got a guy in Sincere Edwards who played limited amount last year, got hurt. You know, missed most of the year. He's come back healthy. Isaiah Nixon's a guy that has been on the roster for the last few years. They feel like he's a guy that stepped up. They brought in a few transfers as well. I think this is going to be kind of, once they get the two top pass rushers going, I think they're going to rotate some guys. I think they're going to try to bring in and try to, you know, give their edge rushers a little bit of a break here and there. But it's going to be important for them because they understand that they're going to need to put pressure on the quarterback. They can't sit back and let quarterbacks take advantage of it on the defensive side of the football.
Wednesday, Chris and I were verbally arguing over Dan Hurley and the contact with official Roger Ayers and Sunday's game against Duke. There's a difference of Hurley berating, which, by the way, I'm not endorsing what he does sometimes. There's a difference of berating somebody and going to make contact with intent. If he's not happy because a charge wasn't called and he walks on the court and he headbutts the official, I'm with you. I'm on that side, but not in that moment.
Look,
come on. He just leaned into the guy. He knows the guy. He didn't do it on purpose.
There's an acceptable level of emotion.
Yeah,
because we expect athletes to control their emotions when celebrating, right?
Yeah, but
you're putting your head on an official.
Chris, come on. You don't believe a technical should have been called there, do you? Come on.
I'm not saying there should have been, but if they
no. I'm now asking you that. If you want to make a big deal about it, then I'm asking you.
I'm not making
should the right thing have been.
If a technical would have been called, I would not have been mad at it.
What a weak take by Chris Vasquez.
Don't hate on it.
On Thursday's program, Cam Mellor yesterday on with Mike Tuck on when Fernando Mendoza might see the field.
For me, if I'm a Raiders fan, I'm counting 2026 as almost like a lost cause. So I hope he doesn't play a single game of meaningful action. I hope he doesn't have to start. I think as good as Mendoza is, we saw one terrific season. The intangibles were all there. I didn't get it. There was middling success where you sort of saw things when he was at Cal. So I think the age-old former way that we used to usher in first overall picks was sit him for a year. Let him get acclimated. Let him understand what it takes to be a pro. A little different nowadays with how much we've turned into sort of semi-pro in college football. So he's maybe a little bit more ready than those quarterbacks of old. But Kirk Cousins should be a guy that can do some things and showcase what they need on offense and also tutor and mentor Mendoza. So if I'm a Raiders fan, I don't want him to play. But in reality, we probably get to maybe week 8 where you want to see what you got type of thing. So I would say halfway through the year, we do see Mendoza in action.
Okay.
I want to.
I mean, you agree. He can't sit for the entire season. You can't draft somebody number 1 overall and have them not play.
No, I told Tuck yesterday, I believe Fernando Mendoza is starter day 1. I think he's a starter day 1.
Yeah, I just think in 2026, I just don't think it's possible to draft somebody number one overall and just say we'll take a red shirt. I even if it's your plan, I just don't think that's
especially not in
possible.
Vegas either. Not in Vegas.
Yeah, that's the week in review.
Stud of the week.
For me, it's a big man by the name of Nikola Jokic. He is the second player in NBA history to average a triple-double in back-to-back seasons, with the first being Russell Westbrook, who did it 4 times in 5 years. Big guys aren't supposed to pass the way he does. And to average a triple-double in consecutive seasons, he's an NBA champion. He's got the Nuggets right now in the 4th seed. They're a game back of the Lakers for the 3 seed. I mean, it's just he's got everything. He's the whole package. Congrats to Nikola Jokic. Another hell of a season for him.
So allow me to do 2 things. One is I'm going to kind of praise our local officials because they did get the Jaguar deal done. It was not as easy as people thought, and it's a big deal to get them to come to Orlando. The story that I was telling you about 10 o'clock about keep an eye on the Bucs in 2028, because if they go forward and there are renovation plans at Raymond James Stadium, they will need a place to play. As per the Tampa Bay Times story yesterday, from what I gathered, and the discussions with the city of Orlando are not exactly totally new and may become a little bit more intriguing, but they got stuff to work out. So hats off to them for pulling that off. Can I also just play off what we just did? Because I'm sure you saw this, Chris, when Fernando Mendoza did his a pro day. And I think that we're at a point now where people accept he's going to be number one pick of the draft, but there's still that group of people, Chris, that think he's kind of like dorky and, he's not a generational type quarterback. And I don't think Fernando Mendoza is a generational type quarterback, at least right now. But that dude at his pro day, did you see what he did? He told everybody what route, the name of the receiver, and it's not that big of a deal until I kept reading people that were covering it that said how impressed NFL people were. It was different. It was appreciated by those involved, and it's just a few little things that I think make people really nice and likable, and I like that about Mendoza. I thought that was really nice.
The pro day, you can't take anything from it.
I took something from it. Leave me alone. Get to the duds.
Stud of the week.
This team had a hard week, at least in my opinion. I don't know if you saw this, but on Monday, did you see what the New York Jets tweeted?
On what?
On Monday.
No, I mean,
so what they did is they tweeted a caption of Daniel Jeremiah's mock draft Monday. And they were bragging about Arvell Reese and Omar Cooper Jr. coming to the team. They captioned it, new receiver has entered the chat at 16. It's a mock draft. What do you?
Did they really do that?
They did. Like, what are we doing?
That's really bad.
That made me laugh. And then Aaron Glenn, if this isn't a guy who's talking like his job is on the line.
Why? Gino's going to take him to the promised land.
Something about a quarterback, and I'm going to say a quarterback with a chip on his shoulder. And listen, he's proven a lot in this league of what he's done, especially when you take those times when he was in Seattle. Listen, he fits exactly what we're trying to do. So obviously we've created an identity. The foundation of our offense is pretty good now. Like, I just feel like he's the guy that's going to lead us to the promised land. He's the guy that's going to touch the ball more than anybody else on offense. And listen, I know he had his struggles, and I think a lot of quarterbacks, they have their struggles. If you look at over the last 5 years, the guy that's thrown the most interception. I mean, the top guys are up there.
Oh my God.
Aaron Glenn, come on,
First off,
man.
It got worse every 5 seconds. It was so bad. It kept getting worse.
We're promoting a mock draft, and then we're saying Geno Smith, the guy is going to take us to the promised land. That's what we're doing in New York. Wow.
I got 2. The first is it's Carmageddon. Do you know what Carmageddon is?
Play on words with Armageddon and car.
So tomorrow, Inter Miami opens up its brand new stadium. Okay? It's right by the airport, Miami. if anybody's familiar with the area, there can be no greater traffic nightmare before they built the stadium. So they built the stadium. They play tomorrow night. They have already warned people, if you have a flight between 4 p.m. and 11 p.m. at the Miami airport, give yourself an extra 3 hours because of the anticipated traffic in the area. And by the way, the main parking lot isn't done construction-wise.
Oh, my God.
So they're calling it Carmageddon. But there's only one dud. And by the way, it's a dud and stud of the week. I'm sorry to do it again. Chris, you have to play Steve Holman at least the first 45 seconds because he is the stud and the dud of the week.
Jalen at the head of the key. Now right side he goes Dyson. Dyson in the lane. Dyson turns. Pass. He goes to Jalen. Jalen in the lane. Get it knocked away, but it goes right to Jonathan Flamingo. Now to Jock, who goes up and got fouled hard.
Jock Landale just got knocked down. A terrible, dirty play by the Orlando Magic. This is what they do. They just knocked down Jock Landale and hurt him badly. Oh, my goodness. Somebody should get thrown out of this game. What a dirty, rotten team this Orlando Magic is. Oh, my goodness gracious. Jock Landale got knocked down hard.
One more.
Tyson Daniels wanted to go over and help him.
On the Magic here. One more.
Pray to God that Jock Landale is not hurt badly, folks. That was a dirty, rotten play by Orlando. I don't care what anybody says or anybody replays on this one. This is a dirty, rotten team. They get down by 30 points, and this is what they do. They are dirty, rotten players, every one of them on that team.
Every one of them.
They can't take the losing.
Chris, that's enough. Every one is dirty, rotten.
And then we have the birds. And then we have the birds chirping. It's great.
Oh my God. It's great.
Fantastic.
Great. Steve Holman is the stud and dud of the week. Fantastic. Back with what we'll be talking about on Monday next.
The weekend is coming, and we've already seen the script. From the locker room drama to the mind-boggling calls, we're giving you the weekend spoilers on a Friday. Here's what will we be talking about Monday.
Here's some things Chris said I'm going to throw out there. You ready?
Get there.
All right, Magic had 2 road wins, and they're in 8th place when we gather on Monday. So I think they'll win at Dallas and win at New Orleans and be 42-36 and sit in 8th place on a Monday. Now the goal, I mean, I don't know if the Magic can get out of the play-in, but I think you want to avoid that 9-10 game. So I think they'll win both games. I think we're going to be talking Monday about UConn's women winning another national championship. And I think we're going to talk about, ready for this, an Illinois-Arizona national championship game. I've said I've done a 170, not a 180 on Dan Hurley, a 170 on Dan Hurley, but they run great stuff. I mean, God, they do really good things in offense. They're constantly moving with the basketball. But I think Illinois is a forgotten team here. So I think we'll talk about Illinois, Arizona. It'll be Masters Week. So we'll get set for that. And I think the Miami Soccer Stadium with the traffic is going to be an underlying story down in South Florida, because that's going to be a disaster down there. By the way, if you missed earlier on the program around 10 o'clock, I mentioned with the news in Tampa, the Bucks have now finally said, hey, we got to meet with the people over there. They're talking about $1 billion renovation or even a new stadium. It's very early, but the Tampa Bay Times reporting yesterday, and I did a little digging myself, if the Bucks do a renovation at Raymond James Stadium, they will need a place to play. You start doing the math. The timeline would actually line up that if you have the Jags are coming here in 27, guess what might happen in 2028. So, and don't think the Bucks just realized that. Don't think that Steve Hogan and Florida Citrus Sports and Jason Siegel and everybody else just said, hey, I got an idea. That's been on the back burner for quite some time. Knowing, hey, in 27, you got the Jaguars, and then in 28, you might have to offer the Bucks a place to play as well. Story to follow indeed. Let's talk to Kurt from Maxine's on Shine, who joins us on these Fridays. First off, good morning. I'm in Morgantown, West Virginia. I have no voice, so I apologize for that. But good morning. How are you?
Good morning, good sir. I am doing quite well.
Why are you laughing? Are you laughing that I have no voice? Are you making fun of me?
Yeah, I'm not making fun of you. I'll double up on my voice and my speed and enthusiasm. We'll balance each other out. How's that?
The other thing, and I forgot to take a picture and send it to you. My lovely little daughter, 29, was at the airport at a different area, but we were both in a same terminal on Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday. I've been on the road so long.
Yes.
And we're standing right by what'll be the future Maxine's of the airport. It was right by there.
Beautiful.
And I thought, oh man,
very beautiful.
Holy smokes. And then after you told me how big it was, I realized this is going to be big, and I was like, this is the place. So I was standing there on Tuesday.
Nice, very good. Did you envision having a Bloody Mary, coming soon? Sitting down there doing that, little maybe.
I did think how cool it's
before catching a flight.
I did think how cool it's going to be to see a Maxine's on Shine at the airport. Then I turned the other way, and there's that confident business traveler that thinks orange chicken and lo mein at 6 o'clock is not a bad option. It wasn't me, but it was somebody else that had no problem. Anyway, let's get to what's happening in Maxine's on Shine. I took much of your time. What's happening this weekend?
Right on. No problem, brother. No problem at all. Well, hey, of course, as we're hippity hopping it on down to Easter weekend here, certainly would love to invite everybody to come out and see us. Going to be a wonderful time right now. Rejuvenation Brunch. We got quite a few people coming out today that may be starting the weekend a little early. Never forget to be able to do that with us on Fridays, y'all. Brunch opening up at 10 o'clock, and we guarantee you when you come in and get one of those Natalie's organic tangerine juices out of South Florida, pour it over top of our bubbles, and you get it in a ginormous chalice. Baby, you ain't going back to work. You're just going to hang out and think about good times to come, especially when you're going to go ahead and pair that down with maybe a little bit of our crab cake eggs Benedict that is fantastic. That house-made hollandaise, a little sprinkling of a little paprika over top. Get your mouth all salivating and pairing up beautifully with that mimosa. So don't forget Rejuvenation Brunch going on all weekend. Live music back, of course, Mark. We've been people have been enjoying the vibe, and man, the musicians getting up there and just playing some really cool tunes. They're gonna, it's always a big part of when we're getting together with somebody or hanging out, music plays a big part in our life. Well, it's returned to really, I think, a missing part of the vibe in Maxine's for a little bit. Not that we don't always have you on sensory overload to begin with, but just saying it's really, really good to have live music. So we're doing that Saturday mornings, Saturday night, and Sundays for Rejuvenation Brunch. Hey, everybody, for Easter Sunday, right now I am on a wait list. I would recommend going online to maxinesonshine.com. If you do want to join us, I do have people on standby at the host stand if we have cancellations to make calls. But go online to maxinesonshine.com. Right there on the book a table tab, you can go there and it'll say that we're sold out, but we do have a wait list. Get your name and number in there. We'd be honored to have you in. If we don't get a chance to get you in this Sunday, may you and your families have a blessed time wherever you are in celebrating this holiday. For those that do get in, hey, we don't have green eggs and ham, but Mark, we do have multicolored deviled eggs and bacon. Okay, There we go. Got to take a little twist on that, yeah. So people have been clamoring for our deviled eggs to come back. We figured this would be a great weekend to kind of get those things started. And, yeah, we'll find a little way to get some food coloring on those, make them nice and playful, and some big old thick cut strips of our mouth-watering bacon to go for you with that. Of course, going to have some fantastic drinks. We got our little Peeps martini that's going to be going on, a little bit of white chocolate, a little bit of amaretto, a little bit of hazelnut added into it, a very frothy, beautiful little martini with, yes, one of those marshmallow little Peeps. Do you guys eat Peeps? Chris, Mark, you guys just
I'm not a big Peeps guy.
I'm
not. I'm going to be honest. Not a big Peeps guy.
Same.
Yeah, kind of put them aside. But they look fun coming out of a martini. So we'll have those going on as a featured drink. Now, for those of you coming out for dinner this weekend, the escargot is still rolling and a flow in there, that beautiful escargot and the garlic herb butter sauce. We've got a crawfish bisque going on. People were going crazy over this last night. I'm telling you, man, nice little spice in there. Perfect pairing alongside if you go with the black and redfish. The Florida reports, the fishing reports have been absolutely fantastic with the redfish popping all over the west coast of Florida. So we took a little bite into that, and we are going to be running with redfish for a little while. Y'all, absolutely beautiful black and doing a pineapple salsa, rice and red beans and zoodles with it. Absolutely fantastic. Again, don't forget live music all weekend. If you're looking for something a little bit different, you want to come join me for a fun event next Sunday. I am your MC. I am your local neighborhood juice curator of Art of the Cocktail. I will be presenting Bourgeois, the beautiful joy of champagne and cuisine. It's a 3-course meal with champagne pairings. I'll break down a little bit of fun facts and delicious delights of bubbles for you at the Orlando Museum of Art. Go to their website. You can buy tickets there. That's next Sunday, $95, 2 hours, $95 a person. Going to be a fantastic time. For all their information, go online to maxinesonshine.com. While you're there on the homepage, make that reservation now. Check out our menus, our entertainment lineups, and we'll look forward to seeing all of you in the house very soon. Cheers.
Thank you, my friend. Miss anything? Go to maxinesonshine.com. We're back to put a wrap in the week next.
Stories. Friends.
That's the craziest thing I ever heard.
All right, I'm in Morgantown, West Virginia. I'll be here for the weekend with UCF baseball. Chris is going over with the family. By the way, will you do a little Easter hunt for your little toddler there?
I would like to. She's running around everywhere, so we gotta put that energy to use.
Told you I put 21 Easter eggs in my house for my wife to find.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's got 15 of them. So
Got a few more to go.
Got a few more to go. I will not be home because I'll be here working over the weekend with UCF baseball for that. But that's okay. And I should be back on Monday morning.
Hopefully with the
voice
boys.
will be better. Hopefully, But we got 3 games starting tonight. That's okay. Big series. Both teams top 25. UCF's in first place in the Big 12. West Virginia's really, really good. They've been to the Super Regionals last couple of years, and so we'll see what happens tonight. Great atmosphere. This ballpark's really cool, and they draw really well, and they expect a packed house for tonight's game, so that'll be fun for that. UCF baseball's over at 8:10 tonight. You can also catch that in the iHeart app, the Magic and the Mavericks. Every game's big for the Magic, but that'll be tonight here on this station. Thanks for accessing our show, which you can listen to at 96.9 FM 740 AM. And we tell you, have a great weekend. Do something kind for someone to expect. That'll preach your best self. It's easy to be kind. Bye.